extra, extra, read all about it. Baby daughter abandoner Agatha Christie enjoys some Waikiki surf. That's it. That's today's episode. We are not judging. Because what wouldn't a girl do for some decent surf? Welcome to the Wipeout Weekly, the daily podcast for beginners, wannabe surfers, and seasoned wipeout enthusiasts. No hype, no filler, just the highs, lows, and honest truth about learning to surf and finding your place in surf culture. I'm your host, Suze Wilson. Let's go out. I love a good old-fashioned murder mystery. I've watched every TV adaptation of Agatha Christie's Miss Marple. Joanne Hickson is the best. And I've probably watched the entire series of Hercule Poirot with David Suchet 3 or 4 times over the years. Not to mention every other movie and one-off adaptations of Christie's work. Even with Kenneth Branagh. Bottom line, I am a total Agatha Christie stan. But I never knew Agatha Christie was a surfer until I started reading The Grand Tour, Around the World with the Queen of Mystery. It's not actually her biography. It's based on a collection of letters she sent back home during the British Empire exhibition mission, known as the Grand Tour, that lasted 10 months in 1922 and hit South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii, and Canada. It is incredible that these letters survived. What's probably even more incredible is that they had to travel by ship, and in either direction, they took weeks or months to arrive. And yes, Agatha Christie and her husband Archie did leave their 2-year-old daughter Rosalind behind. Christie's grandson Matthew Pritchard wrote a preface to the book and offered an insight into why she would do such a thing, even though she'd miss her daughter dreadfully. By the way, Nima is what Matthew called his grandmother. I suspect their decision to go arose from Archie's restlessness and dissatisfaction with his current job, he said, coupled with Nima's passionate desire to see the world and her suspicion that marriage to a businessman with only 2 weeks holiday a year would make further opportunities for such adventures non-existent. She could not see her life spreading out before her. And who are we to blame such a passionate and enthusiastic person? Word. At that time, Agatha Christie was 32 and only published The Mysterious Affair at Styles. So you see, for her, it was one and only chance to see the world. She was leaving her daughter in good hands with the entire family support system, including her mother, a sister, and servants. I'm so glad that she got to surf. Here's another shocker. Agatha didn't discover surfing in Hawaii. No, the first time she surfed was in South Africa, and she didn't even call it surfing. She called it surf bathing with planks. How fun. In 1922, the surfboards in South Africa were made of light, thin wood and were easy to carry. And Agatha claimed that surfing was an easy sport and great fun, apart from an occasional painful nosedive, the only time Agatha loathed surfing. Surfing in South Africa wasn't popular yet in 1922. It didn't take off until 1940s or even 50s. So Agatha trying to surf there as a woman? Extremely rare. Kudos. Agatha and Archie surfed in Muizenberg, Cape Town, in February, where, I quote, "The sea is really hot." So I've checked. Hot meant 19 Celsius or 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Within a week, they were buying their own surfboards. From what I can tell, they surfed every other day for almost 3 weeks. Then, for months, nothing, no surfing, as they traveled inland and then to Australia and New Zealand. Oh, I forgot you guys can't see the photos. I'm so terrible at descriptions. For surfing, Agatha wore a swim cap and a bathing suit that kind of looked like a tennis dress. A tunic tennis dress, maybe. The surfboards really look like wooden planks. Here's how Agatha describes arriving in Hawaii in August. We arrived in the early morning, got into our rooms at the hotel, and straight away, seeing out of the window, they were staying at the Moana Hotel. Seeing out of the window, the people surfing on the beach. We rushed down, hired our surfboards, and plunged into the sea. We were, of course, complete innocents. It was a bad day for surfing, one of the days when only the experts go in. But we, who surfed in South Africa, thought we knew all about it. It is very different in Honolulu. Yeah, it was different, all right. In South Africa, the surfboards were thin wooden planks. In Hawaii, slabs of wood reminiscent of the olo, too heavy to carry. In South Africa, Agatha could just step into the surf. In Waikiki, she had to paddle all the way to the reef, which to her seemed like a mile away. It's not actually that far. Agatha might have discovered surfing in South Africa, but only appreciated its complexity in Hawaii. She talks about having to recognize the waves and having to be a good swimmer, or having to position herself on the board appropriately. Honestly, it's so much fun to read because you can relate to it despite 100 years that passed. Especially as Agatha comments, Honolulu had proved excessively expensive. Everything you ate or drank cost about 3 times at what you thought it would. Hiring your surfboard, everything costs money. Sounds so familiar. And it gets better. There are so many great stories, including one about how Agatha almost ended up surfing naked. But you have to read it yourself. If you don't care for Agatha Christie, just get it on Kindle so you can skip to the surfing parts. Because of all of this happening in 1922, I was thinking, did Agatha ever meet the Duke and Tom Blake? They were all hanging out in Waikiki building their Olo replicas around that time. But no mention of it. It would have been so cool though, don't you think? And that's all for today. Check out the Waipai Weekly for our free newsletter, more stories and ways to connect with us. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow for more of the Waipai Weekly.